Welcome to the start of season 3 on the AWFL podcast, the Awfully Good podcast with Rich and Mike. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing pretty okay, except these breadsticks are not good.
Yeah, I can hear you crunching on breadsticks. Bread doesn't normally crunch.
Yeah, they did not reheat well. I'm just going to leave them alone.
Sounds disgusting. So here we are, season 3. We finished season 1. We simmed through season 2. We've had our 2 off seasons now, and we're going to break down the divisions here, or at least pick division winners and talk a little bit about the teams in the divisions along the way here. So we just want to jump into it. We don't want to waste any time.
Hold on a second. Are you saying you don't want to talk about the sim season at all? Well, I want to talk about the sim season. It was a wonderful sim season. I went 14-2. How'd you do?
I went 7-9.
That's not very good.
I attempted to start Popic for like half the season, and then for like a 4-game stretch when I saw it was kind of hanging in the balance there. My season was hanging in the balance. I put Breeze back in and won a couple of games, and then he lost a couple of games, put me out of the playoff race. So then Popic was back in.
You sound like Hugh Jackson.
The sim season sucks for me. It wasn't a very good season for me.
I mean, the sim regular season was wonderful. The sim playoffs can go to hell. I don't even want to talk about those.
Well, you know, you're losing your first game.
I said I don't want to talk about it. Move on.
Okay, so moving on. We're going to start with the AFC North. And who do you think's going to – or not who do you think's going to win quite yet, but how do you see that division shaping up?
Well, I see it I think it's a really close division, actually. Like, I think NB came in with a not very good Bengals team and just – I don't want to say dominated, but he pretty much held firm the division the entire way. B-More is solid, if unspectacular. J-Face is going to lose week 1, obviously. And Arlen is, I think he's getting his groove back.
So
you just said you didn't tell me to pick a winner. You told me not to pick a winner. So I just told you about the division. Pay attention to what you say.
Yes, I was stalling there because I'm trying to find a
you do not stall very well.
Not work. Well, you just stopped talking on me. I didn't know what to do. So
I know I don't do that often.
I didn't want you to pick a winner, but I wanted you to talk about the teams in the division. So go ahead and who do you think had the biggest improvement? Or is going to have the most improvement in that division?
Most improvement?
Yeah.
I hope it's my boy J-Face, but I think it's going to be B-More just because I think he's got a handle on the Lamar Jackson situation. Mm-hmm. And I guess technically Arlen, because hypothetically, I'm not actually picking him to win, but maybe I think he's going to win. So, yeah. And I don't know how he finished season 1, but I don't think it was great.
Arlen?
Yes.
Well, didn't he make the playoffs?
He did not.
No, that's right. The Bengals did.
Correct.
So you think the Steelers are going to win the division?
Oh, I totally think the Steelers are going to win the division.
Huh. I know he started slow, and then he kind of picked up traction like mid-season. And I don't know. I still think the Bengals are going to win the division again. They got Marcus Mariota now. I think he added. No, he still has Eifert, doesn't he?
No, he got rid of him before season 1.
Did he get Jordan Reed? Who got Jordan Reed?
I have no idea.
I feel like it was the Bengals. I could be wrong there. Anyway, until somebody takes the Bengals down, I'm going to pick the Bengals again. He had a really good season, and it's going to be one of those divisions where you could win it with 11-5. You won't need the 12-4 to win the division, and I think the Bengals can get to 11-5. The biggest improvement, I think, is going to end up being B-More. I played him last season. His record wasn't really indicative of how he was playing. He was just kind of getting some bad breaks there. So I can see B-More improving. I would pick J-Face and the Browns, because the Browns team should be better now, but I don't know. I don't think he was too bad season 1, so I don't know how much he can really improve. Even going to like 10-6 wouldn't be a massive jump for him.
Right. I think the thing you say 11-5. I think that the division is going to be close. I think they're all going to trade wins with each other. I think if you can get to 10-6, you have a really good shot of winning that division because it's going to be tight like a toiga.
I can agree with that with 10-6, but
I'm dying over here. I'm so phlegmy because of these breadsticks. But moving on, NFC North. Who do you think is in the division, and how are they?
so I'd like to see the Vikings play a little, Big K play a little bit better this season and win the division, because I thought he had the best team season one starting out, and it just didn't shape up that way for him. But kind of like the AFC North until the Bears get knocked off. I don't know. I don't know if I can pick anybody else to win the division but the Bears. The Husker and the Packers should be pretty good. He's always right in the mix. I know he was in the mix for it late in the season, in season one, so I expect him to compete. Looking at the Bears roster, it doesn't look as impressive as I thought it would. I didn't look at it for the sim season. I know he signed a bunch of guys in free agency and traded for some older guys, and that team was stacked for the sim season, but it doesn't look that great right now.
Well, I would like to talk about this division, but most of the teams in the division are not worth my time. So what I will say, and even though I don't think it's going to happen, I think the Lions are going to win the division.
But how?
Because they're building a defensive line that is monstrous, and they still have Matthew Stafford, and they still have other things, and mostly because it's funny to me.
Well, it would be fun if they won it, but I'd have to see. So that would be a massive improvement for the Lions to go from, I believe, worst in the division to first in the division.
I mean, when we did the season one preview, we talked about every team, and a lot of teams like Prudence Lions, we just kind of said, I don't know who this guy is. Let's see how he does. And he didn't do very well, but hopefully he does better.
Yeah, I still don't know much about him.
I don't think I actually watched any of his games. I feel bad about that. Not really. Moving on.
Okay, so back to the AFC. Well, wait. Who you picked the Lions? Okay, you have the Lions. I have the Bears winning it. AFC East.
Is that AFC where we're going? East? That's where we're going. I told you this. Okay. Pre-show, never eat sour wheat. If nobody's ever heard of that, then you're stupid. I'm sorry. AFC East. Am I going first?
Yes.
God damn it. It was a weird season one for the AFC East. It was very Palmer Bills on top for a while. And then Bumble was like, hey, everybody, I'm still here. And then he went away forever. And the Dolphins don't exist. And when they do exist, I can't really understand what they say anyways. And then, as we all predicted, the man, the myth, the legend, Randall Keith Orton, RKO, came out on top with the Jets and his multiple quarterback system of Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater. I don't see it going much differently this year, generally speaking.
I agree. I think it's the Jets. I think Bumble and the Patriots, sometimes he plays great, sometimes he's not playing great. So I think he's the one that really can compete for the division. The Bills didn't really improve too much. He did get Christian McCaffrey, but if you look at Josh Allen isn't that good. His wide receivers outside of Kelvin Benjamin, who really isn't anything special, aren't good either. Doesn't really have a good tight end there. I think if you can't pass the ball, you don't have guys to throw the ball to, you're going to struggle. So I don't see the Bills really competing for the division. And the Dolphins, I don't know. I hope he can win some games here, but I feel like they're going to be at the bottom, one of those bottom teams, the way it's shaping up right now.
Like Bumble's that guy that if he could just calm the fuck down during a game, he'd probably win a lot more games than he does.
Bumble's the guy that will beat the Chiefs, and then he'll lose to the Titans, who had the first pick in the draft. That's what it seems like.
I'm writing that down.
He can win a big one or lose a big one.
Which is cool. I do that all the time.
Just got to be consistent.
Yeah, that's not me. So, moving across the pond to the NFC East, I'll let you start with this division.
So the East, I think, is going to end up being kind of like season one was. I think the Giants win the East again. So you can, yep, you can take that. And I think I want to say the Eagles are going to finish higher up, but man, I lost so much confidence in public season one. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine them finishing under the Cowboys and Redskins, but I guess it's possible. I think it's going to be a lot like season one. I think going into the end of the season, like week 15, 14, 15, any of the four teams can win the division. I think that's what it's going to end up shaping up to look like. It's going to be a 10-6 is going to win the division in the East.
Wait, hold on. What, 10-6? What about 8-8?
8-8 won't win it this time. I think you have to have 9-7 is not going to win it. I think you'll need 10-6.
Bullshit.
Well, okay, 9-7 can win it, but I think 10-6 will win it. We'll go with that.
Like the way I see it going is I'm like season one. I beat Public twice because Public has never beaten me. I'm 3-0 versus him. I beat BBJ and the Dallas Cowboys twice also. I split with Perry because he has some weird-ass voodoo on late season games that I don't know about. And that 5-1 record basically carried me to the playoffs because I won the division. Nobody else did, just me. Again, because I don't think I'm going to beat Public twice because I'm not that lucky. So if I split with Public and then maybe I split with BBJ because he's one of those guys that if he just let his super overrated team do the work for him, he'd win a lot more games. And I'll probably actually this year sweep fucking Papa Perry because he got himself a good quarterback. And what that means is he's probably going to throw even more interceptions because, as we all know, a better quarterback makes you make better decisions.
Yeah, because that's where most of your interceptions come from, or the decision making.
Interesting. But anyways, yeah, like as you said, like I don't think 8-8's going to win it. And it's really hard for me to do better than 8-8. I don't know if you've seen. So I don't know if I'm going to be on the top. I'm going to hope I'm on top. As always, it's my favorite position to be in on top. Actually, behind is my favorite position. But anyways, moving on. That was a little rough.
Who did you pick to win the division? I think you got it cut out.
Actually, on the prediction thread, Z-Car, my boy, posted, I picked the Cowboys.
Really?
I think if he drafted himself a really not good quarterback, so maybe, hopefully, that allows him to decide, okay, my quarterback sucks. I'll just run the ball and play defense, which is what I do.
Okay, but he might do that, but he also might try to push that quarterback to get his stats up, to get some XP there, and end up forcing more balls than he needs to force, causing more turnovers.
He's definitely going to chuck it deep into double coverage because that's who he fucking is. He's also going to play cover one, and I'm going to get a couple free touchdowns. It's whatever. But generally speaking, his defense is – his front seven is legit, and it terrifies me. So I'm not looking forward to that.
I think you're right that if he'd let his team do all the work, he'd win the division.
I think Public, his spirit was broken season one, and he was just kind of hanging out until the season was over. And hopefully he gets back into it because I don't want to beat him twice if he's going to be a sad puppy. That's no fun for me.
It's interesting to see what happens with Public because you could tell he was kind of dejected toward the end of the season. Started out, pretty excited and ready to go, and then it kind of just teetered off by mid-season. I guess we'll see what happens there. So,
what is up next?
All right, let's jump to the AFC. AFC, what's it, South here?
Yes.
Yep. AFC South. Let's see.
I guess. Do I got to go first now?
Yes.
AFC South is very to talk about the teams. You have the Texans and then no one else now because the cheese is gone. Well, never mind. The cheese is still here. It's just different cheese. Fuck. The Titans, I hope he wins the game. That's all I'm going to say. Just win a game, bro. Don't talk to me until you win a game. The Colts, I'm not sure they exist sometimes. The Jaguars are probably the best actual rated team in the division. I think it'd probably be pretty close between them and the Texans. But their new coach.
It's really not that close. I think the Jaguars really are much better.
Oh, are you saying that I'm off base? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'll move on. But the Jaguars' new coach, because their old coach got the boot because he's a fuck, dipshit, words, enter whatever ones you want. He's a piece of shit. I don't like him. Their new coach, however, is also an idiot. And I'm just going to say that. He's kind of an idiot. I don't like him that much. He's a douche. I know him. Rich knows him. And it's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say. It'll be interesting to watch and see how long it lasts. But I think, generally speaking, that the Texans are going to own the fuck out of this division this year. It's just like not even close.
I agree with the Texans pick. I think the Texans are going to win it going away really early. He'll just be fighting for the number 1 seed because he's going to likely have a bye, and he's just fighting for that, home field advantage throughout. So with the Titans, I don't know. I mean, he traded Mariota. Doesn't have a whole lot going on, but the team is good. I mean, a decent offensive line, decent linebackers, decent cornerbacks, really good safety with a Bayard, and just don't have a quarterback now to really do much there. I think he might have drafted one, and he may have had Dalton. I'm not really sure, but it's Derrick Henry. That's his only real weapon there, and I think he still has Delaney Walker, who's about 45 years old. It's just not. The team itself is decent. It's getting older, and I don't know. I don't love the Mariota trade for that team. I don't know how much helped him in the draft, but I didn't love that at all. The Colts, like you said, I don't never know if he's here or not. I don't know what's going to happen with that team. If I don't know if he made a lot of improvements in the offseason either, because I didn't see him too active in free agency. Of course, he could have been targeting players that I wasn't targeting, so who knows? And the team wasn't very good to start with, so I don't know. The Jaguars with Brett, I have seen Brett. I have played with Brett. I've seen Brett, I believe, win a Super Bowl and definitely contend for Super Bowls. But that was all pro sliders. This is all Madden with some ridiculous, boosts to the sliders here. So I think he's going to struggle season 1. I can see him winning week 1. I think when I was looking at the schedule, he plays the Titans week 1. I can see him winning there.
Oh God, that would be so great if he lost to the team that hasn't won yet. Oh my God, I need this to happen.
I can see him winning that game, but then after that, I think it's going to get rough for him. So Brett's going to have to kind of learn to lose season 1, because it's going to come early and often after that, after week 1. And these sliders is a whole different animal than what he's used to playing with. I know that for sure.
Well, according to preseason week 4, he needs to learn to not throw it to the defense, specifically the defensive user. And apparently his internet sucks, as some people do when they're kicking field goals, and only when they're kicking field goals. That's interesting.
Who did he play in the preseason?
Otto, Denver Broncos.
Yeah, you're gonna play a guy like that who's a contender every year.
Well, no, here's the thing. It wasn't that Otto, he just threw it straight to Otto's user three times in the first quarter.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, better learn to stay away from that, because guys here don't really use their D line. There's only 1 or 2 guys that I see using D line, and you got stay away from those user linebackers.
It's not even about staying away from them, because they could be in the middle of the field and you could throw over to the left side, and then they're there intercepting the ball. It's whatever. I'll move on.
I hate it. I've said it before. I hate it. I can't stand the roaming thing. I'm not saying it's cheese. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it's overpowered, and it annoys the crap out of me, because to see guys cover so much field with one player, it bothers me. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean,
no. I'm not. It's not about camera angles or anything. It's just the game itself. It is what it is, and you have to live with it.
Right.
So run, punt. Let's go.
So let's go ahead and jump down to the NFC South.
Ooh, interesting.
So I guess I have to go first on that one since you just went first.
Unless you'd like me to, I have no problem doing that.
I'll go for it. So I think it's going to be kind of like season 1 was. You're going to see Jay Shock at the bottom here. Unfortunately,
Always.
he I'd like to see him get improve, at least get to the third best team in the division.
Did he get a new controller yet? Because it's broken.
Is it? I hadn't heard anything about this.
Oh yeah, his controller's broken and his internet sucks.
Anyway, it'd be interesting to see what Ace and the Falcons do, because he was just getting pretty mouthy in the chat over the weekend.
He is talking mad shit, and I'm not sure if I love it yet, but I do like it.
I like it. I like it, but I don't like that he hasn't done anything yet. His team.
He hasn't not done anything. He went, what, 6-7 or some shit? Like, first year, I understand he has a really good roster and all that stuff. But even then,
that's the issue, though, is that the roster is going to get worse as we go.
Oh, yeah, but for this season, it's still pretty good.
No more Julio. We'll see what happens there.
That I don't really get. I don't really get trading a first for a 31-year-old wide receiver either, but
that's the new Madden, man. You can do that. I think he'll be right in the mix with me and Z-Car. I think me and Z-Car are going to be battling out again for that 1 seed. I don't really want to pick me or Z-Car because I'm going to be biased, or either biased or overly unbiased and pick against myself. So I'm not going to pick me or him, but I think the winner is going to be the Saints or the Panthers for season 3.
I think the Buccaneers and their wonderful coach should probably just, go play Fortnite or something. Do something better with his time, because this ain't it, bro.
I disagree, because then he leaves and then greatness comes back to the South, and then I'm fighting with him.
Greatness on the Buccaneers. That'd be hilarious. But anyways, I think the Falcons, if he plays video games with his children around, can win a lot of games. But I think generally speaking, he can, at least go, let's say 8-8. I think he, as a user, is good enough to go 8-8, and I think his team is good enough to carry him higher than that, which leaves it to you two to not lose to him. Because once you guys lose to him twice, or once, whatever, it brings your 13-3, 12-4 down to 11-5, and he climbs from 8-8 up to 10-6, and then it's a lot closer. But saying that, however, I think Z-Car is going to fall down a little bit. I think losing a guy like CMC is whatever. You got the 3rd pick. You gave up a first to get it. Whatever. What do I know about trading? I'm bad at trading.
Well, I will say about Z-Car losing McCaffrey, he did get a running back to replace him with, but I don't think that running back is nearly as dangerous as McCaffrey was with him.
It's about style. He wanted a different style of running back, which I fully understand. Like if you said, here's Derrick Henry, I would say, ew, gross. I don't want him. Like, I didn't really want to be the Jaguars because I don't really want to run with Leonard Fournette. He's not my dude. Give me Saquon, and I will be fine.
No, I get it. I get you want a different style running back. I'm not saying he did anything wrong there. I just don't think he's going to have the explosive plays that he would have had with McCaffrey with this guy. And which I think he just wants to pound the rock anyway. He wants to get 3 and 4 yards of carry, and that's fine.
DJ Moore is a good wide receiver in the game, and he hits him a lot. Olsen's a solid tight end, obviously.
Olsen's 35 now, though. He's probably got 1 season left in him, and I don't know if it's going to be a really good season for him.
I mean, he's at least going to catch the ball. You know that. That's fine. You are obviously terrible, and
everyone knows this.
So, like, with Z-Car coming down, you being terrible, and Ace being kind of okay, I'm going to pick you.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw some things on myself here, though, because I did lose my center, but that's the only thing I really lost this all season was a center. Because outside of that, I added Evan Ingram to go with. I already have a dynamic offense with Thomas, Cameron Meredith, who's like 83 on the other side, Alvin Kamara, and then you throw in Evan Ingram. My offense just got the only offense I think that that rivals or the Saints can rival or comparable would be the Chiefs. I don't think I would state it the right way, but I think the Chiefs and the Saints offenses are the two best offenses as far as weapons go in the game right now.
I mean, before the Julio trade, you could have had Atlanta up there because Hooper's a good tight end, and they have a solid core wide receivers
and Devonta Freeman, and yeah, you're right.
Well, he traded Coleman season 1, so that's gone.
But he still has Freeman, Ridley.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
So,
but yeah, I think it's one of those divisions where it's kind of set in its ways. I'm not saying for the whole cycle, but it's very consistent.
Yeah, I think it's going to flip-flop between me and Z-Card most of the time. And I do think Ace is going to compete down, maybe even this season. But I think it's going to mostly be – it's looking like me and Z-Card right now.
Moving on, back to the AFC, into what I call the AFC worst, which is a division full of pieces of crap who are not good at this game. And Shuck. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Shuck's actually terrible at this game. Shit. Division-wise, you got the Chiefs up at the tippy top. He didn't have a great sim season. I was happy about that. It was funny to me. You got Otto on the Broncos, who is apparently pushing TJ Logan as his feature back now. And TJ Logan's like 76 overall or some shit. But he's fast. That's all that matters.
All that matters.
You got Sage on the Raiders, and he's in the middle of the division. He's below the other two guys, but he's above the other guy. And I think he can compete, but I think he can also not. It's going to be a weird thing. It's one of those things I'm just going to have to watch happen and see what happens. Shuck is talking some shit, too. He's in the chat a little bit more, too, like your boy Ace. And I don't know what room he has to talk because he won 4 games and got sacked 88 times while having a really good defense. Just run the fucking ball. Holy shit.
Also threw, what, 51 interceptions, I believe?
A lot. Let's just say a lot.
That's not exaggeration. I think it was like 51.
Hold on.
It was something crazy like that.
88 times. He had 3 players with at least like 18 sacks. How do you not win games with that? I don't get it. I don't get any sacks.
I think it's the same. Like you were talking about BBJ earlier, and if he would just let his team be his team, he would win games. I think Shuck and the Chargers are in the same boat. If he would just let his team play and not turn the ball over, I think he wins a lot of games. He's not going to win the division that way because you have to score points against the Chiefs and the Broncos, but you would definitely be in that 8-8 just by doing that. I think you'd be in that 7-9 to 9-7 range.
I think I have a theory as it relates to users who are the coach of their favorite team. You like Shuck's sitting there with Phillip Rivers. I got Pip Rivers, man. I got to throw the ball. Got to sling it with Pip. He's got a bunch of kids, so I got to feed them all. Let's go. Instead, you should just be giving the ball to Melvin Gordon and just giving the ball to Melvin Gordon. And then kind of like dink and dunk. Melvin Gordon then again. But whatever. What do I know?
Well, they have weapons. They have a good tight end with Hunter Henry, and then they have Keenan Allen. So it's not like he has nobody to throw the ball to.
What is it? Corey Davis? Is that a person?
I think so.
Tyrell Williams? He's tall.
His defense is absolutely loaded. He could make a jump if for whatever reason he decides to stop throwing interceptions and taking sacks. But I believe he's friends with Isaiah and Steele.
Yeah, they are a group of buddies.
Yeah, so maybe they've been practicing, and he's going to come in and start playing with their style of offense, and then game over for the league.
Are you saying that they've been playing a lot of NCAA 14? Because that would not be good for the league.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying they have their own style.
So how do you see the West of the AFC going?
It's the Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, Chargers. It could be the same as it was season 1. Like I said, unless the Chargers stop turning the ball over and taking sacks. But I think because Sage was competitive all season, so he'll be right in there.
Do you see Kansas City being as dominant as they were season 1?
Yeah. I don't see why they'd be any different. I know in the sim season didn't sim that well, but his team is still better than it was season 1 with those weapons. It's until he starts losing players And then even still, I'm not really sure. But until he starts losing players, I don't see that team getting any worse. He's still one of the better defensive users, which gives them a huge advantage. And when you can use her on defense like guys like he does, and Otto's the same way, uh, and you can put up the kind of points that the Chiefs can, it's still it's his conference to lose, not just division.
Ooh, you hear that, everybody? Conference, not division. Speaking of divisions, moving on to the NFC West. Last but not least, who went? You. It's your turn. Go ahead.
I really want to see the Rams take that division because just like the Vikings, like I was talking about the Vikings in the North, it's a team that's supposed to be really good. And I want to see the team that's supposed to be really good be really good.
And it's a good user too. It's not just
he is a good user. Same with Big K. They're both good users with good teams. So I want to see them do better than they're doing. So I'd like to see the Rams there, but I think it's going to, just like season one, you end up seeing the Seahawks at the top there.
I mean,
I do think it's going to flip though. I do think the Rams could finish second instead of the Cardinals this season though.
yeah, I think like we didn't really I think you underrated Felgar just because you didn't know him very well.
Right.
I did not. I thought he could make the playoffs, and he did. Good for him. Hopefully, he continues that. I think Saran Rap can continue to lead the division, but I think this is about the time for it needs to be the time almost for the Rams to take the division because that team, I don't know how long you can hold it together.
Right, because at some point these guys start to age and they start to cost money. I don't know. This has to be the season. If you're going to do it, it's going to be this season. It needs to happen. The 49ers are going to be stuck at the bottom, I think. I don't know where Hackenor has been.
He's a ghost.
Yeah. And so I don't know I know he started out hot last season, 3-0, whatever it was, but then he won 2 games the rest of the season after that or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know how
I'd like to see the Rams do it, but Saran with his defense and the way he runs the ball, and now he has Teddy Bridgewater instead of Russell Wilson, which apparently is an upgrade somehow.
Wait, what?
Hang on. I don't know.
Did I trade for the wrong quarterback? God damn.
I think you might have.
Shit.
So yeah, I think the Seahawks finish at the top. I'd like to see Felgar make a jump also, maybe, but he was competing for the division late in the season. I can't really say make a jump because he was right there.
He made the wild card.
Right. And I think he was right there at the end though, like season or week 15 or so, he had a chance to win the division.
Right.
Toward the end there. So also I don't know if he beat Saran last season.
I don't
know if he got swept or not. If he can beat him once, if they can split, then he has a chance to win it. If he's going to get swept, then there's no chance there.
Now, remember, kids, Uncle Rich says win division games is better for you.
It usually is. Not always, but because wasn't it Shuck that was just beating his division up?
I think he beat Sage at least.
Okay.
Which isn't that hard.
All right, so that's all the divisions I guess we covered there.
All right, so we've generally spoken about everyone. Who do you think will be in the season 3 Superb Owl?
So we're just going to skip all the rounds, right? Just go straight to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, fuck all that work.
I think it's going to end up being the Chiefs again in the AFC. The NFC is a little tougher, but oh man, I'm gonna pick myself this time.
Ooh,
I think it's Saints and Chiefs.
Fuck y'all. He's going with himself. I'm gonna go in the AFC with our Lord and Savior, RFF, and the Texans. I think he puts it together and he makes it to the big show. And he's going to play in the big show public. Dropping bombs.
Public
Eagles.
That's bold. That's a bold choice. That's That's a big jump for public to make to go from not the playoffs to Super Bowl.
I'm not saying I'm trying to curse him with voodoo, but if it works.
And this is after losing Carson Wentz.
Losing. You said losing, but what you meant was giving up.
Okay. I'll buy that.
What else you want to talk about?
There's really not much else to go over. The waiver wire ended. We saw what happened there. Week 1 starts tonight, I guess, not tomorrow.
Tonight at 10, I believe.
Tonight at 10.
I'm about to get wrecked by Myles Garrett and his big brown dick.
So I guess I got to make a final decision on my damn playbook. I think I've changed playbooks 3 or 4 times already.
Is that all?
In the off season? Yeah. Well, this is what ends up happening. Like, I saw the Packers playbook was finally open, so I'm like, all right, I'll take the Packers. And then decided, well, I kind of want to use this Titans playbook, so I switched to the Titans. Then I decided, well, maybe I want to use the Texans playbook, so I started messing around with that and picked the Texans. Then the Saints playbook came back open, so I picked the Saints playbook again to go back to my playbook from last season. I'm just all over the place.
I have used the same basic playbook between the West Coast base and the Green Bay's, which is basically the same with more plays, for 3 years now. So I'm not hip and keen to all the new cheese you kids are using. I just know what I know.
The thing is, like with the Saints playbook, I wanted something different because I want to be able to use Tyrod in certain places. So using a read option would be fun. And the Packers have in the pistol formation those motion plays that I like. So that was the thing about the Titans playbook is the Titans have a shotgun formation that's a split back that has motion plays in there that could be real effective against aggressive users. But it's hard to test playbooks when you're playing against the CPU because you can't fool the CPU. You know what I mean? Like you're not fooling a user when you're playing the CPU. So I had to play online head to head a few games like that. And even that's not really very telling because those guys are just running the same damn crossfire blitz, over and over and over. So you're not really getting a true gauge of how good these playbooks are. That's really why I keep flip-flopping around. It's because I use the playbook for like 5-6 games against the CPU and then try a different one. I got to make a decision before I play my first game here.
Like, do I wish the Packers playbook had some read option plays that I could use based on the acquisitions I've made at quarterback? Sure. Am I going to fret over that and change my playbook? God, no. I remember the last time I changed a playbook, it was season 3 of last cycle. And halfway through the first game, I was lost as shit because I didn't know where anything the fuck was.
Well, that's why you got to play a bunch of games with your playbook, though. You can't just change it and then start playing with it.
I think there's a correlation to the fact that I don't mind Madden 19 and you mostly hate it. And I barely ever play Madden 19 and you play it multiple times every day.
I just play it in the morning usually.
I'm just saying, like, you freak out over all of these glitch animations, and I've seen like 2 of them.
Yeah, I see them all the time. But I don't freak out about them. I just freak out about the ones in the league. Playing against the CPU, I don't give a shit. What happens in a league game, then it's an issue. And I only had like 1 or 2 last season. It wasn't a big deal. Could have costed us a game, but
I don't feel like we've been talking that long.
I don't think I think it's been close to at least half an hour.
All right. Well, we need one more subject to talk about, and so you got to pick something.
One more subject to talk about.
Oh, I know what we forgot because we did the winners of the divisions. Let's talk about who's not going to win divisions again, and give me your top 3 picks in the next year's draft. Who is going to suck really badly is what I'm saying.
Top 3 picks. I think the Dolphins are going to have the first pick, followed by the Titans. And, let me pick another one, a third one.
I mean, if the Titans go from 1 to 2, that just means in like 20 years, they'll make the playoffs.
Now, this is very dependent on if the users make it the whole season too.
Ooh.
Because I do think we're going to see some guys drop out this season.
I'm not saying that you have to talk in the chat as much as I do, because very few people do. What I'm saying is, if I fucking send you a DM during the goddamn draft, maybe you could reply to it within 7 hours.
That's fair. It's a fair request. So the third team I'm gonna throw in there is gonna be the Colts. Now the Colts did win a few games last season.
Yeah.
Did start out hot, but he's been so quiet. I just have a feeling it's gonna be at the bottom.
And those are the kind of guys.
But again, this is very dependent on everyone, on guys finishing the season or not, because one of these teams could pick up another user if one of these users leaves, ends up being pretty good and winning a few games here.
We talked about it the other day, like people that didn't make the playoffs season 1 haven't played a game in, I believe, like 3 weeks.
It's almost 3 weeks, yeah.
So if you haven't played a game in 3 weeks and you're coming off a bad year and you start out very slow, you're going to lose interest. And I totally understand that. I have nothing better to do with my life because I don't have one. So I'm going to be here regardless. But if you got shit to do, I totally understand it. Unless, of course, you quit 3 weeks into season 1. Then you're a bitch.
No, I think you're like 100% right there. That being that we haven't played in a game in nearly 3 weeks, and these guys that they're like, okay, we got the all season coming up, and they may not have had a great all season. Like in my case, if I wasn't active, right, I didn't have a good all season in either all season. I didn't get any of the free agents I was bidding on. My draft picks were pretty much terrible. I don't think any of them are going to actually start on my team. So you take a guy who's not active, not into it as I am, that has that kind of scenario and didn't get to play in the playoffs and had a bad season 1. They start out season 2 with 2 or 3 losses, or season 3 with 2 or 3 losses, and that's when they bail. That's what's going to end up happening, I think.
That's what happened to Patrick. R.I.P. Patrick.
Yeah, but Patrick did that in every league he's ever been in. I played with Patrick in GFL and PFL.
He drafted the greatest quarterback in the history of drafts, and he thought it was going to make him a good user, straight up. And then he threw 8 interceptions in 1 game. Maybe at 1.5. Fuck, I don't remember.
Who's your bottom 3?
My bottom 3. I probably should have been writing things down while you were talking. I didn't do that. Let's go there. Nah, nobody in there. And no. I don't even know who's in that. I'm gonna put Shuck in the top 3 again because he's not good. Prove me wrong. Let's go. I'm gonna put Perry in the top 3 because I think he's gonna throw a lot of interceptions. And then I'm gonna put Hack, the Ghost, the Legend of Hackenor, also in the top 3. So I would have the 49ers, the Redskins, and whoever I said first. Oh, the Chargers.
That's fair. I can definitely see those 3 getting there also.
I think Perry and Shuck can have average to good seasons possibly.
I have more confidence that Perry's having a good season than Shuck, though.
Yeah, Perry's not bad. I like Perry. He's a good dude. He just needs to stop beating me. That's all. Speaking of good and bad, we're technically 2/7 through. That's a weird fraction.
Yes, it is.
2/7 of the way through. And obviously, I'm a really good GM because I make a lot of trades. And if you don't make any trades, you're a bad GM. That's how it works. Right? That's how it works.
No, I can almost agree with that.
Who do you think so far is, I would say, leading the pack, besides me, for second best GM of the league?
Well, I haven't looked at teams to know that. I would say the Bears would be at the top there because they had such a good sim season. But
that was cheese.
Also, to be fair, the Bears start out with a decent team, so it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like
trading for 1 year of Tom Brady doesn't make you a good GM.
No, but I don't know if that team makes the Super Bowl without Tom Brady.
But that's kind of my point. Like you traded for 1 year, and now you gotta do if we get to season 4. Now what are you going to do? Trade for Matt Stafford?
But we're talking about what we've seen so far. We're only 2 seasons in. The Bears have been in the Super Bowl twice. So it's kind of hard to say anybody's a better GM than the Bears right now.
Well, he kind of lucked into a real-life trade actually going through. So I'm going to throw that out at you.
He did.
Sage didn't have to trade him Khalil Mack.
Sage should not have traded Khalil Mack, but
He
that's
was heartbroken at the time and taken advantage of. He should have had his rape with him. Actually, you're supposed to yell fire because nobody wants to come watch a rape.
So outside of that, though, I mean, I don't see anybody else. I do think you've done a good job with the Giants because you did get Russell Wilson. Your secondary's, decent, and you added some guys on the line there.
My my corners are very young. That's my problem.
Yeah, and then they'll age as you go. So
that's
the only thing is that I don't know if you've added much talent to your offense. You didn't really need to.
Nope.
Outside of Russell Wilson, I mean, that's a hell of a lot of talent to add to the offense. But to bring in a quarterback like that, and you haven't really lost too much. So I don't know. I mean, I say that the Giants are doing pretty well in the GM department.
I mean, to bring in a quarterback like Russell Wilson is a great thing, even when you have to overpay for it. However, I underpaid for it. I traded, just for the record, if you didn't know, the second-round pick that year, and what ended up being the 28th pick in the next year's draft, which I think is pretty good value.
Yeah, I thought you way underpaid because if I'd have known that was the deal, I definitely would have traded what you gave up and then some for Russell Wilson, without a doubt.
Well, too bad. Maybe you should be like up in people's DMs every day, like I am.
I guess so, because usually I see guys like post, this a quarterback or something. I'm like, they're gonna want too much. I don't even go for it. And then I see they were traded for a third-round draft pick. What the hell is that? Like today, I saw Otto in the trade block saying, if anybody has any elite cornerbacks, let me know. And I laughed to myself. I'm like, who the fuck's gonna trade an elite cornerback? And then I realized there are idiots that do this all the time. They trade really good cornerbacks because they want a first-round pick. Not only are they trading them, they're trading them to a guy who's going to have a late first-round pick. So somebody's going to say, hey, I want your first-round pick, Otto, and they're going to give him an 85 to 90 overall cornerback for like the 28th pick in the draft. It's going to be something silly like that.
And then they're going to take that first-round pick and probably draft a corner.
If not a corner, they're going to draft somebody with normal to quick dev that's going to be useless the rest of the cycle.
But I don't make those kind of moves. Unless you count, Evan Ingram, which I was okay with. I don't think I got trapped or anything.
I don't think I thought I was on the low end.
Well,
like, I felt like I was giving up too much with the first and 2/3. And to be fair, that this is what the guys didn't really know about. But if you wouldn't have been the nice guy and double checked to see what I thought, you would have gotten a first, second, and third for him.
What did I double check?
The original trade was, I believe it was the 13th, and then my 13th, and then my third-round pick this year, and then my second-round pick next year. Yeah. And then you sent it to me saying, does this look right before I hit send? And I was like, well, the second doesn't feel right. What if we do a first and 2/3? And you were like, yeah, that'll work.
I just wanted the 13th pick. I don't give a shit. I needed more picks. That was my problem because I didn't have any at the time. So I was a little, bargaining underneath. But I don't really need an extra wide receiver at tight end. And that's what I feel he is. And that's why I was okay with trading him. Could I probably have gotten a lot more for him if I had thrown him on the trade block? Yeah, probably. But that was just kind of a random thing that came up one day. And I was like, cool, let's go.
Yeah, but could you have gotten a lot more? Because really, you got the 13th pick. Who was given higher than the 13th pick for Ingram?
I don't know. I probably could have got that third pick if I gave up the first next year. But I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah. Then you're just giving up to get. I don't know. That'd have been tough. Anyway, nobody wants to hear about our trade. Who do you have as the best GM right now?
Besides myself?
Besides yourself?
Oh, shit. No, I actually got to think. Oh.
I don't think anybody's made any. I mean, the Redskins bringing in Carson Wentz was pretty big.
I mean, he traded the second pick for a good quarterback. And you're not going to get a Carson Wentz at the second pick.
No.
So that's good value right there. I don't know if there's anything else involved. I think actually Public got like a 2 back. So it wasn't like totally pick for quarterback. But like nobody, like, yeah, I'm the guy that makes 5 trades in one day. I get that. There are people that don't make any trades. And until like maybe we did this too early. I don't know. Basically, I just wanted to talk and throw shade at Saren and his bad GMing skills because he gave me Russell Wilson for nothing.
Well, I will say Jay Shock and the Buccaneers are doing well with the draft. I know he drafted a ridiculous safety, and I think he drafted something else that was really good. So he's doing well drafting.
Now playing,
and he didn't draft a quarterback like we thought for sure he was going to do after season 1, which was smart.
Does he still have Jamies?
He still has Winston. Yep.
Oh, that'll be fun. Just to see in all caps, followed by multiple exclamation marks. Multiple times.
But outside of that, I haven't seen any big moves. The Bengals have done pretty well with Mariota, and I believe, again, I think he has Jordan Reed. If he does, then
he does. In fact, I checked on that. He got him for a third.
So
he's a little older now, and maybe you got to hope that he stays healthy because I assume that injury is a little low. But it's a good replacement for Eifert type situation.
Yeah, and it just adds that another weapon on that offense. So yeah, I think it's a little early to go off of GMs. I think we talked about it before the podcast. It feels like every team is kind of the same. Like I don't see any great teams right now. Anybody really above average. Everything is average and below.
I mean, defensively,
aside from the Chiefs,
people have like good core groups. Like the Rams have a good defensive line. Or maybe somebody's got like the Chargers have really good corners and shit, but nobody has yet to build a solid overall team. Like if you have a solid overall team, you already had it when we started.
Exactly. And I don't know if anybody's going to build a solid overall team this cycle.
It's really hard.
It feels like it's going to be the year of average. Like we're all going to be fighting. It's going to be mostly on the users, but we're all fighting to get average players right now. Look at the linebackers in free agency, how much they're getting paid, that are like 80 and 81 overall guys.
Well, deving a linebacker is almost impossible. I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm just saying it's really fucking hard.
Yeah, but what positions aren't hard to develop right now?
Running back developed pretty nicely, actually.
I do agree with that. As you were saying it, I was thinking Kamara developed kind of easy, but he was also star at the time. I think that could be what it is too, that you have to have superstar players.
Well, basically what they did is they took slow and turned that into normal.
Yep.
And they took quick and turned that into star. And then what normal is now whatever. Quick. I totally lost track of my train of thought there.
Normal's quick is star is superstar.
Right.
Type thing. And superstar is the top.
But it's like, yeah, if you get quick development, that sounds great, but what you really got is normal development. He's just not slow anymore.
Right.
And then if you get a bunch of quicks, they're still not developing very well, fast, if you will. And if you get if you get a linebacker and he's not at least the star development and 21 years old, he's gonna have troubles getting better because they cost a lot.
They do. So do defensive linemen. So do wide receivers, quarterbacks. You can forget, like my guy that's quick. No way he's going to be decent, and not unless I come out this season slinging it, and he ends up with star development. But even still, you're better off if you're going to draft a quarterback. You have to draft one before a user season, and you have to get them star development after that. After that season, you need to win some awards.
I will disagree. I think defensive line is actually, assuming you get guys with development, defensive line's not bad. My now superstar development defensive lineman, Pat Barry, only requires 5,000 points for a skill point. And I am super excited about that.
Yeah, that ended up being a really good pick.
Unlike Sage, who took his defensive lineman right after me, who's 21 years old, and then moved him to outside linebacker. And now he's a 77 overall, and he's never going to develop. But okay, whatever. Do what you want.
You know what might be easier is to pick who you think's the worst GM so far right now through 2 seasons.
The worst GM through 2 seasons?
Who's done the worst job as a GM?
Public.
I can't really disagree with that, but he did draft. He did get that ridiculous running back.
So he traded one of the better quarterbacks in the league for a running back. Congratulations, you are the Giants.
That's true. Okay, so it could be the Eagles. That's fair. Um, the Titans, I think you can put up there after losing Mariota, and they haven't really added much outside of that.
Giving up a good quarterback who's like 25, 26 years old, I don't know why you do that because you're not going to be able to replace him.
No, not this year for sure. And there is a difference between a guy with 90 accuracy and a guy with 82. It's a big difference. You're gonna see it. You're going to notice it.
I mean, I too understand numbers and their differences, but whatever. Um, like most of the guys I would list as quote unquote bad GMs are just guys who are never around and don't make any moves. That doesn't technically make you a bad GM. Like you can slowly build a team through free agency and the draft. And if you already have an okay team, that might work for you. Whatever. Not everybody wants to make trades. I get that. I'm different. I think we all know that.
So this is kind of can be kind of a weird way to go about it, but I have, I said earlier, I think the Bears could be one of the best, could be the top GM right now because of what he's done through 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could also make the argument that he could be one of the worst GMs looking at his team right now because
he, like me, didn't have a pick until like the 5th round at one point. And I don't know if that makes you a good GM or not.
Well, what ends up happening here is Mitch Trubisky didn't develop at all because he didn't play in the sim season. Right. He was 25, but you lost out on anything Mitch could have done. So now you're gonna go with Case Keenum, who's 32. He kind of is what he is. Not going to be burning it down. He's got Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. Both are going to need contracts. I think he might end up losing one of these guys. I don't know if he's going to lose Howard or not. I think Howard's in the last year. You look at his wide receivers, only carrying 4 wide receivers right now. I think he just got Edelman, he said. But outside of that, you have Allen Robinson. He is what he is. Taylor Gabriel's 29 and Miller's 25. He may end up being decent, but he won't be anything great. No real tight end outside of Trey Burton, I guess, who's pretty good. He's only 28. I was thinking 28 would be old, but that's not old anymore.
No. I think what we're coming to a head with this conversation is that we have reached the point where people are going to decide whether they are a good or bad, not necessarily a good or a bad GM, but just having a good or not great-ish cycle overall. Because now is when you get to like the meat of you've got 2 drafts in and you develop these players. These are your core players. Now what you add to this from here on out defines what your team is at the end.
That's kind of what I was getting to with the Bears right here. That's basically what I was, this is where you got to start adding pieces and starting to develop. And this is actually when GM skills come into play. And it's the same thing on my end. You look at my team is no better than it was season 1. In fact, it could be worse than it was season 1. I'm not doing a very good job at all at GM. I had to trade a lot to get a quarterback who could end up being a bust. And then I ended up trading the other first that I had, which that was kind of out of my hands because I wasn't going to be home all weekend. I couldn't be here for the draft. So I had to do something. I wasn't going to wait, and set my board for 13 damn draft picks. So I did what I had to do.
You can't set a 13-man board. Palmer set a 26-man board one time.
I mean, you can, but I don't know, man. I just don't like it. 13 picks is a bit much for me.
I once had a 96-man draft board in order.
Well, I mean, my draft board is normally like, when I go through it, it's going to be at least 15 to 20 picks. What I'm saying is like, shit changes, man. Like, I may want a quarterback, and then seeing that no quarterbacks win, I may think, man, I don't even went to the second round. I want to change it and draft one later. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with offensive linemen. If I see that I thought offensive linemen were going to go early and none went, and then I realized, well, I can just draft this great defensive tackle right here and get an okay lineman in the second round instead, so I can change it. 13 picks in, that's a realistic possibility that something like that could happen. So I thought I was just better off trading that pick altogether and then moving on.
I mean,
what sucked was I had no first, second, third, or fourth round pick in that draft.
I mean, that's where I was before. we made this wonderful trade that gave me a bunch of picks, and then I made a couple more trades after that, and then I think I probably made more. I don't know. I lost count.
But you were around to do that. I wasn't. I was in Alabama all weekend. You know, I hadn't.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Is there anybody in this league from Alabama that I can make fun of? I don't think so. Bunch of Oklahoma fucks. Fuck those guys.
I don't believe anybody's from Alabama. Anyway,
greatness is basically from Alabama.
We can just say he's from Alabama.
Yeah, Georgia's basically Alabama, just like Cincinnati is basically Kentucky. That was random. I think we're rambling now, though.
Yep. I got nothing else to talk about. You got anything else you want to go over?
I want to backtrack to a statement that you made earlier to end this. You said that the teams generally, overall, are going to be average, correct?
Yep.
Average in the NFL is 8-8, and that's who I am. So what you're saying is I'm the best team in the league.
That is not what I said.
Nope, that's what I heard, and that's what we're going with. Y'all have a good day. Let's send this shit out.